If you're just getting started building AI apps, it can be really overwhelming to learn that you've got to do all these integrations into different tools like Supabase, like GitHub, just to get your app working and live on a custom domain. But with this platform, you don't have to do any of that. And the platform I want to show you today is called Mocha, and I'm going to take you through step by step building an app from scratch in under 30 minutes to show you just how easy it is to build an app on a platform where everything is built in for you, from authentication to your database and storage. If you don't know me, my name is Chris, and for the last 15 years I've been designing apps and advising startups on product and design, and I believe the next wave of incredible businesses is going to be built using AI tools. And so with that said, let's get straight into Mocha and see what it can do.
Build great products. Build great products.
So let's get started with Mocha. And Mocha is another AI app building tool that basically claims to do everything out of the box. It has a bunch of stuff built in. So unlike Lovable or Bolt, you don't have to do any integrations to bring in a database or authentication or storage. You have it all ready to go out of the box. This is very similar to Base 44 in the approach that they've taken here, and also Replit, which all claim to do all of this stuff out of the box in one kind of easy to use package. And basically Mocha is exactly that. And you've seen this kind of style interface a million times already, I'm sure. It's just a text box on a page, allows you to put in a prompt, and then it will build your AI app for you. There isn't a lot of other stuff here, so there isn't an option to choose what framework you want to build in or import a design from Figma. I think this is really tailored towards that non-technical founder who wants to build something from scratch with built-in functionality without needing to worry about connecting all of these separate tools or having visibility of exactly what you're building. And generally I've found that these tools tend to be best for more like internal or personal projects, personal apps that you might use for like fitness tracking or productivity or that sort of thing, rather than actual production consumer apps. But I don't see why you couldn't integrate something like Polar or Stripe into this and actually start taking payments for your app as well. So let's get started actually building something here. And what I want to build today is a tool that is basically going to create options for a minimum viable brand for your app idea. So if you have an app idea, it will give you like a brand name, a design direction, like a brand strategy, and maybe some style suggestions and some similar brands that use the same sort of style that you can kind of take inspiration from. I think one of the problems if you're building an app from scratch is that design piece of like, how do I position this? What do I name my app? And what's the branding behind this? And it's one of those things that's like, it can be quite painful for people to do, to actually figure out exactly what the brand of their app should be. So let's build a tool to help people do that and see what Mocha can do. Okay, so I've put my first prompt into getmocha.com, and this is basically says, build an app that helps people create a brand identity for their app idea. The app should have a landing page with a text input field in the hero section asking them to describe their app idea. And then when they click submit, it should ask them to log in or sign up, and then land them on a report page for that app idea in their dashboard with an outline of 3 suggested brand directions for that app, including a brand name, brand strategy, design direction, brands with similar styles for inspiration, all of that sort of stuff basically to help kind of create this initial minimum viable brand for your app idea. The user should also be able to go back to their dashboard to add a new app idea, and also the app should include a user profile with settings and a logout option. So we're basically going through like a rough prompt structure here where we're outlining the user journey, the key features, and then explaining all of the secondary features that we want here with like a user profile and a logout option. And then I just wanted to add in a little bit around design as well. So for the design, the app should be minimal and typographic in a monochrome color palette, using instrument from Google Fonts for headings and DM Sans for Google Fonts for body copy. If you see my other videos, I pretty much use a lot of these fonts fairly consistently, with color use sparingly, similar to the attached image. And then I've attached an image here, which is just a screenshot from another website that I liked of a specific component where I want to kind of follow that style. So let's put this into Mocha and see what it comes back with. So let's see what Mocha can do with this prompt. So already it's a little bit different to an interface that you would expect from one of these app building tools, mainly just because the chat is on the right hand side instead of being on the left. We can collapse this panel down like we can on a lot of other tools here, and you get a lot of other settings here that you would get on other tools as well. So you've got a discuss mode, so you can chat with Mocha to ask it questions. You can also add attachments on here, and you can also access things like settings. So this settings menu gives you access to all of the things that you have got in your app project. So basically the details, any assets or images or files that you've got uploaded, publishing to a domain or to a custom domain. You've got your secrets, so all of your API keys will be stored in here. You've got knowledge, which is like information that is related to how you're prompting Mocha, so kind of like instructions for your AI app building tool. Sharing, where you can turn on and off the watermark and share this app with people, and then some advanced stuff here as well for adding specific npm or code packages to your app, as well as reinstalling packages, clearing the package cache, and then the domain settings is down at the bottom here as well. So you'll see everything related to your app in that settings view, and if you go here you can also download the code, duplicate this app, and also show the logs as well underneath here, so you can copy and paste any errors from the logs into your chat on the right hand side, and you also get a view of all of the pages in your app at the top here as well. So you can see at the moment it's updating home.tsx, that page. You've got some other controls along the top here just to kind of highlight these. So you've got a preview mode, you've got a code view, which you can see all of the code files in your project. Now this isn't a code editor, so you can't actually edit this code at the moment, but it does give you visibility of the code. I think similar to base 44, what you're getting here is a view of the code. You're not actually really supposed to edit it directly in the app itself, and you've got a view of your database here as well, where you can see the tables that have been created in your database and all of the information in your database here. So if I go back to my preview, you've got a couple of other controls here, so you can switch to mobile from mobile and desktop, and you can also go full screen for your app preview as well, and just click that close button to go back. So let's wait to see what Mocha generates here and what it asks for. Whether it's probably going to ask for maybe our OpenAI API key here that we get to put in. So there we go, we've got our app on the left hand side here. It's stuck to the design directions surprisingly well based on that screenshot that I gave it, which is great. So we've got this font here, we've told it what fonts to use, which it has used here, which is great. And this is our app basically. So this is the landing page where we put in our app, get AI powered brand identity suggestions for your app idea, 3 unique directions complete with name, strategy and design guidance. You put your app idea in here. It shows you the changes that it's made here as well. It actually shows you the code differences that it's added in here as well. So it's added all of the stuff in green and taken out all of the stuff in red here, which is great. Maybe not super necessary for a tool like this because it's supposed to be more for like non-technical people, but it is useful to have it there to see exactly what it's changed. If something goes wrong or if something breaks, you can always reference these kind of code changes here to kind of pull out anything which might have been taken out or done incorrectly, which is super useful to have. So let's actually start using the app and see how it works. And we can have a look at the mobile version of that here, which is working nicely. One thing that I noticed with Mocha is that when I did actually open it on my phone, it actually looked pretty good in mobile as well. So you could actually probably use this in mobile if you wanted to build something on the go or work on your apps on the go. The mobile view is actually pretty solid there, which is something that's different to a lot of other tools in this space that don't work particularly well on mobile. I know Replit has a mobile app, so that's slightly similar. Let's see if this user journey actually works here. So describe your app in detail. So let's do it for this app that we're building, which is called Brandcraft here. So let's say, hey, I'm building an app that helps people create brand identities for their startup and suggests brand names and design directions. You'll be asked to sign in with Google to save your report. So I think Google sign up here is built in. We're going to sign in with Google, come back to our app. We've got no reports yet. but it's taken us through into the app. What it hasn't done is it hasn't persisted that idea. So what I think we should do here very simply is just to prompt it to like persist. It might be difficult because that's not necessarily tied to a user account because the user hasn't signed up here, but we might want to ask this to persist that idea from the landing page through to the actual app here. But let's just put in for now, let's just put the app idea back in here and see if we can generate a brand report. So I'm building an app which suggests brand names and design directions for startups. Let's generate a brand report. The preview failed, so let's click fix that with AI. I think like a lot of these tools, you get like a quick like fix this with AI button, which does fix things directly and just attaches, basically it's attached this error report here about the error that happened in the chat, and then it's going to try and fix that, which is great. It's basically giving Mocha some really good context about what went wrong, and then it's going to fix that error. So I can see the issue from the problem is that this is not an array when the report component tries to map over it. This is happening because the data structure isn't being handled consistently, and so it's going to fix that issue. It's saying that it's reasoning there as well. So this is an agent, an AI coding agent that is working for us to build this app, and I'm assuming that this fix also is not going to use up any of my credits either, although it would be nice to have a little message there that just said this is not going to use any of your credits. Maybe it did before and I just didn't spot that message, so it might have already been there. Okay, here we go. So this is now fixed in here, and we've got our previous report here. A quick break in the episode to talk about my community for people who are building apps with AI and want to actually launch their app and get real customers. It's called the AI App Builders Academy. So if you're building an AI app with Bolt or Lovable or Cursor or any of these AI tools, and you actually want to make a profit and launch your app, then this is the community for you. Inside, you'll get access to a community of other builders, as well as my 30-day app course, helping you go from idea to app to a profitable launch in just 30 days. You'll also get access to weekly calls with live workshops and training, as well as all of my startup frameworks and resources, and 24/7 support from the community to help you answer any questions or problems you're having with building and launching your AI app. So if you're building an app with AI and you actually want to make a profit and launch your app, then head over to school.com/AI apps to find out more. I'll see you there. If I click on this report, I can now see a full breakdown for this idea. I'm building an app which suggests brand names and design directions for startups, brand direction options, modern minimalist, focus on simplicity and clarity to convey trust and professionalism, clean typography, generous white space, subtle shadows, and a monochromatic color palette. What I think is a nice idea here maybe would be to like have a prompt that's created that I can put back into like my app building tool to like prompt it to do that design direction. Brand name options, flow state, clear path, zenith. I was hoping maybe it would come up with brandcraft because that's the one that it's already come up with, but it's not come up with that. But these are based on these different brand directions, so maybe that's probably for the best. Bold and dynamic, velocity, catalyst, momentum, create energy and excitement around innovation and speed, strong typography. So this is good. Like even very quickly, we've spun up a pretty decent app here, which looks really strong. The actual design for this is very good compared to a lot of other app builders out there. Although I've given it explicit design direction, I think overall it's followed my directions pretty clearly, which is great. And I do think like these AI app building tools really benefit from delivering like a very high quality design straight out of the box, because that gives like a really good user experience for first time users. Professional authority, so we've got Summit, Apex, Foundation. Establish credibility and expertise in the market. This direction conveys reliability and industry leadership. Why this works. The professional approach builds confidence and positions the product as a serious solution for business needs. We can go back to our dashboard, previous reports. We can add a new idea in here. If I click new idea, I'm just going to go back to this page here where I put in a new app idea. So let's try and add a bit more functionality in here so that I can get a prompt to like a vibe coders prompt here basically to put back into my AI app building tool to kind of follow that design direction. I've got like all of my user profile stuff in here as well, which is great. Let's go back to Brandcraft and have a look at this. So let's prompt this in here to add this functionality. So I've just added in here, I want to add a new element to the brand direction report. It would be a vibe coder's prompt, which basically creates a detailed description that the user would be able to copy to their clipboard to use in vibe coding tools like Lovable or Mocha. We've got to put Mocha in here because we're using Mocha right now. So let's send that off and see what it does. As we're doing this, we're waiting for Mocha. We can have a look at some of these other elements here that we looked at earlier just to see the information that's gone into them. So we see we've got in our database, we've got app ideas, and we've got an app idea that was created in here, and brand reports, and we can see the report that's been created there as well, and you can see the actual code with all of the information that's been added here. I wonder if we can go in and edit this specifically. So that's going to be a load of, so you can come in here and you can edit the database entries here as well. This is saying development data only, publish your app to access production. So you have to publish your app for that to be production data. I am wondering, there isn't like a direct GitHub integration here, which is one of the areas where it falls down a little bit. So I can't sync this code to GitHub and then deploy it from GitHub using like Netlify or Vercel. One thing that I do think is valuable when you're building an AI app in an AI app building tool like this is to be able to split your main kind of production code from your code that you're working on to build features and add functionality, just because we don't want to be making changes to a version of this app that already works and is deployed until we've tested it and we've made sure that it's not going to break anything. And so it would be really good here if I could connect to GitHub and deploy it that way, and maybe work on separate branches. I know that's like a much more technical feature, and maybe this is because this is maybe not so much suited for like consumer apps where you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of users, maybe more for like internal apps. And for example, I might use this app on my community to help people over at school.com/AI apps to create a brand identity for their apps that they're building. Maybe for like communities and businesses, this is helpful to build apps using Mocha. But for taking an app idea from something that's built in a tool like this to something that's production ready, I would want to see like some of those other features there to be able to like take that code out. Although you can kind of like, you can download it here. So we could download it and then we can put it into GitHub, and then we can work on this separately and then update that in GitHub. We could still do that, but a direct connection there might be nice as well. So this is said it's added the vibe coders prompt section to each brand direction report. So let's see if it's added it to, okay. So it's added it to the existing report here. It hasn't generated it because that is generated when you put in a new idea. So let's go back here, paste this in, and then let's generate a new report here. There we go. Okay, so we've generated the report. We've got the options here. These are actually like, I think these are the same options, which is interesting. I haven't entered my API key, any API key here. So this is maybe just using Mocha's like built-in AI functionality. And the prompt here, we've got create a modern minimalist web application with clean typography with generous white space. Design should emphasize clarity and functionality, similar to Notion, Linear, or Stripe. Prioritize readability and user focus through simplified interfaces and clear visual hierarchy. So this is great because I can now copy that to my clipboard, and I can paste that. I can go to like Lovable, or I can go to Mocha, and I can paste that prompt into my chat window here to like tell it that instruction to follow that design direction basically. Maybe we will also want to add here like checkboxes, so I can choose like what name I want to go with. Could be fun. Basically select from the options and then like generate your brand strategy report could be useful. Let's go back to the dashboard here and let's just try some of these other features. So we'll log out. I want to add like a few more bits to the landing page too, and this is where again it would also be useful to have like some of the other features that you have in other tools here to I just want to make changes to my landing page, not to any other page in the app. So if I could select my landing page as just the context here in the chat to just amend that page, that would be super useful. Let's enter the prompt here anyway and see what it does. So let's send that prompt off. So there we go. Mocha has added a login and a sign up link to the top of our navigation there. So if I do login, I can then log in using my Google sign up, and I can get my reports that I've saved here and also go to my account. So I want to add in one more thing here just on the landing page, just to maybe improve the design of this a little bit, which is just like a gridded like background. Again, like I've done this on similar apps before, so I think it's just quite a nice touch to add in this to this kind of minimal looking app idea here. So let's put in the prompt here. And I've just literally said add a subtle gridded background to the landing page. So let's see what that does and what it looks like. Perfect, so we've got our gridded background to this page, which is looking good, and it works really nicely on mobile as well. And I'm just going to make a last final change here, just to this powered by AI text at the bottom here, just to link it to the community as a tool to use for my community. So I'm just going to say exclusive to the AI App Builders Academy, and let's just change that text there. And then we'll do a final test of the app and then wrap things up here. So there we go, we've done that change, and that has been updated on our app at the bottom there, you can see. Let's open this full screen, and then we've got our app here where we can log in. We still haven't persisted. What I'm going to add in here is just to persist that information from that form when you sign up for the first time. And then that is all ready to go. But there we go. We've got an app built with Mocha in under 30 minutes. So let's get into my final thoughts on this AI tool, whether you should use it and who this tool is best suited for. So that was Mocha, and hopefully you can see how easy it is to build on one of these all-in-one platforms like Mocha, where you get everything out of the box from database to authentication and storage. It's definitely good for certain use cases, but not all use cases. If you're building a consumer app, for example, where you want to get a lot of customers for things like subscriptions or add in free trials, it can be a little bit difficult to do that with an all-in-one platform like Mocha. But where it really excels is for those internal kind of use cases or personal use cases. If you have a community, or if you run a business, or you're working on a team and you want to build an app that's going to help your team or your business, or even just yourself do something better, then this is a really good use case for something like Mocha. And what I was really surprised about is that it's actually very, very good at following your prompts and instructions, and it has a pretty good sense for design compared to some of the other platforms out there. So I think if you are building something internally, or you are building something for your own team or your own business, then I would definitely recommend Mocha. If you're building something to actually get customers and make money or turn into a business in itself, I probably wouldn't use something like Mocha, but for building internally, it works really, really well. Now, as always, if you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to click like and subscribe. And if you are building an AI app and you do want to know how to get real paying customers for that app, launch it and grow it, then you can go over to my community at school.com/AI apps to learn more. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Build great products. Build great products.